Are you aware of the impact of transportation on the climate crisis in the United States? Could you guess how much carbon dioxide you produce? How about the average greenhouse gas emissions produced by the United States? Well, the answer to that last question is that on average per year, the United States produces 6.9 trillion tons of greenhouse gas emissions. 20% of this comes from transportation alone, which totals to 1.9 trillion tons of carbon dioxide. 57% of this is from light-duty vehicles, which in simple terms is cars, SUVs, pickups, and vans. These are things that you might generally consider personal transportation vehicles. And that answer to the second question is the average person produces 5.07 tons of carbon dioxide each year. However, a bus produces about 13.22 tons per year. 11% to 14% of Americans report using buses as their main mode of transport, while 76% of Americans report using personal vehicles or their cars. This makes about 90% of the U.S. population. The total carbon dioxide emissions produced by buses is between 498.8 billion and 634.8 billion tons. The total carbon dioxide emissions produced by people driving themselves is 1.3 trillion tons. If the majority of the population transitioned from driving themselves to using public transportation, the estimated outcome could be a decrease between 686.8 billion and 822.8 billion tons of carbon dioxide per year. This is not really a viable option as the entire population cannot transition to public transport, but it's also not the only available option. Walking or biking to work or to any kind of gathering is a great option for both your health and the planet. Another good option is driving an electric or hybrid vehicle, which uses electricity instead of gasoline or uses a combination of both. And while this does not bring your emissions down to zero, it certainly reduces them, which is always something you should strive to do. Lastly, while transportation is an issue we should focus on as a country and as a global community, it is not the only major contributor in the climate crisis, and we should look for ways to reduce our impact on the environment and the climate crisis in any way we can. But this is an idea we can start with or learn from for our future and for the future of the planet. And this is the impact of transportation on the climate crisis in the United States.